we're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this, and we'll go back and forth, and I'll kind of interpret some of the data that's going on here. So let's start from the beginning. It's a really good one, actually. So I made a live stream earlier today, and I was inspired after watching this video. Kanye exposes Diddy and Lucian, Diddy's sugar daddy. This is by Celeb Lounge, and this guy has taken a bunch of clips from TikTok and other sources of media, because we're considered the media now, because we can't rely on the media. And so I'll present this video, and I'll kind of interpret some of the data from what I've learned in life and about this so far.
I don't really know this guy that well.
Meyer Cohen.
CEO of Universal Music.
Sorry guys, sorry about that.
The record industry.
Trying to get this tripod set. It does not want to work with me. There's Diddy.
Why is everyone focusing so much on P. Diddy right now? When in actuality, everybody should be focusing their eyes on this man, Sir Lucian Grange, aka the chairman and CEO of the Universal Music Group. Yes, the same Universal Music Group that had all of its artists' music taken off of TikTok. This situation is way bigger than anybody really thinks. And hopefully I'll be able to open your eyes just a little bit more. And there's numerous accusations of Lucian and UMG sponsoring these parties, including from artists like J-Lo herself. It gets pretty dark. And if you really want to get deep, over 70% of the songs that just so happen to be on the Billboard 100 just last year in the last quarter of December, okay, were literally owned by Universal Music Group people. And in the 1,000 plus page documents, Lil Rod Jones and a lot of other defendants as well admit that Lucian himself was at each one of those parties. So that in itself should really tell you something. And did you know, across the course of Lucian's career, Grange has worked with the likes of ABBA, Drake, Elton John, Jay-Z, Katy Perry, Queen, Rihanna, the Rolling Stones, Sam Smith, U2, and Amy Winehouse. Oh, and ironically, Grange is a Sir by virtue of being knighted by the Queen of England in 2006 for services to British business and inward investment, as well as his accomplishments in the music industry. And was in the process of acquiring EMI from Citigroup back in 2011 and was completed in September 2012, UMG buying the British major record company for $1.9 billion. Thus acquiring labels and a roster of stellar talent, supposedly, including top-selling artists like Katy Perry, like I mentioned, Lady Antebellum, the Beatles, and the Beach Boys. This shit goes way back, people. And it's pretty damn ironic when you consider the fact that P. Diddy's best friend is none other than Jay-Z himself. And is anybody actually aware of the controversy that lies behind Jay-Z's name? If anybody would like a video upon Jay-Z and this controversy alone, I can make...
So, from what I know about Jay-Z is he apparently sold crack back in Philadelphia or New York, where I think he's from New York. But he apparently somehow, he was like really rich before he even got into music. So back before he even got into music, he had like art on his walls and stuff. Jay-Z sold crack in New York before he made music. So he was able to make, he was rich as shit before he even got into music. And then, so that's how Jay-Z was able to keep his master copies of his music and then distribute them. That's how you become successful. Usually it's the master copies, the ownership of those. And if whoever owns those, at least usually that's how it used to go. You know, whoever owned the masters could like sell them out and rent them out, you know, to who they wanted. So that's where the money was. So Jay-Z was allegedly a crack dealer before he was a rapper. And there's guys that knew Jay-Z before he got into the rap game, and I've seen on YouTube, and they were saying that he had luxury art exhibited in his apartments and stuff. He was living the top end lifestyle before. And so, and that goes into the CIA, the crack epidemic, and the cocaine, the Contras. That's what it kind of falls back into, but that's a lot of information. That's a very deep, broad subject to go into, but who is allowing, because when you're selling crack cocaine in an environment, the police know, the local authorities know who's selling it, because there's someone in the authorities that doing it, or there's just so many rats and snitches in the environment. From what I've heard, there's the local authorities are actually the ones that determine who sells what drugs in what area. So they're actually cartels. So if you're selling the wrong drugs in the wrong communities, that's when they bust you and come down on you. Also, they always have rats in the community that are snitching out all the drug dealers. So they know exactly who's dealing drugs, and they just let the person build up some money, and then they bust them so that they can get some cream off the top. And it just works on scalability. That idea is scalable. So when you look at big dealers and stuff, and it's like they're getting away with it for so long because the agents on board, they're letting them do all this stuff, do all this work to make all this money. So when they, because from my understanding is when an agent takes, like an FBI agent takes over a case, it's like those agents are so intimate on the case, and that when the final bust goes down, it's like those agents are going to go in and I would imagine go straight towards the cash, take their cash off the top, and then claim everything in on the official report for the government. But so when, like, my idea of federal agents, FBI agents, is they're like attorneys in the way that they operate in a gray area of law. So they have to work in this area of law that's kind of questionable, and they have to do questionable techniques, skirt the law themselves, probably break the law in order to, capture professional criminals. And so when you break the law to capture advanced criminals, there gets to be a lot of gray area where your ethics and your constitution has to be completely fixed. And I would assume that a lot of these big drug dealers are allowed to produce money and get away with it for so much time, just so that some of these agents can go in, pick some money off the top, pretty much claim all the assets, or claim whatever assets they can, and then, officially make their report. So that's kind of the politics, because it all goes down to politics, and unfortunately everyone's in it for themselves, and it's hard to find a guy that's just ethical to, because money makes people do weird stuff, y'all. All right, so P. Diddy, let's get back to the video. We're on P. Diddy. Excuse me, guys, I didn't mean to burp. We're on P. Diddy, and P. Diddy, we're on Jay-Z. And Jay-Z allegedly was a crack dealer in New York before he even became a rapper. So let's get back to the video.
Make that video. It's going to be at least 10 minutes long. Because, boy, let me tell you, there's even allegations that go back to Tupac and Biggie. And isn't it ironic that Diddy's name has been heavily surrounded around these cases for so many years? This is for entertainment purposes only, by the way, so I don't get a violation. And then people like Eminem make a mockery of the situation by saying he did it at the end of his diss track. Oh, and isn't it just ironic that Eminem, a.k.a. Marshall Mathers, just so happened to be on that list? I'm sure we all know about the list that I'm talking about. Well, the supposed list, that is. Regardless, people only refuse to acknowledge those names going to that island in the beginning because it doesn't seem realistic. And the only reason that it doesn't seem realistic is because the entertainment industry has convinced you otherwise. Does anybody actually understand what music is, what frequencies are, what they do to your brain? You know that really annoying-ass song that you just can't get the fuck out of your head? Frequencies, people. Everything around us contains a certain frequency. And if you align your mind with certain frequencies, your brain waves shift. They're altered, sometimes to calm you, sometimes to irritate you. Our perception of our realities around us daily might or might not be false. The aspects that have been hidden behind our supposed leader's veil of lies for so long are much more vast than anybody would actually like to believe. And there's a reason that we're all confined inside of this infrastructural society. There's a reason why so many of us give into entertainment so willingly. We have obviously become mindless consumers that value everybody else's opinions more than ours, thus not allowing ourselves to think outside the box, which is kind of something that they told you from the very beginning of our failing education system that they wanted. They wanted workers and not thinkers. And now here we are, stuck working. Just like Diddy, he was a worker, he was a pawn. And Diddy, I guarantee, will be the fall man. And I'm really curious if Diddy and himself has the balls to reveal everybody's name. Because boy, when I tell you that's a long-ass list, it's a long-ass list. And regardless if you want to have your eyes open or not, this is the age of Aquarius, people.
All right, so let me bring it back over here onto this side. So I was saying, he was talking about Eminem, and on my last video, one of my last, I think it was part 2 of the conspiracy theories, I showed Usher and Eminem connected together, and that was around the time Eminem apparently died. So Usher pretty much introduced Eminem to P. Diddy, and then God knows what happens, because I'm pretty sure that the Eminem that they're presenting to us now either had a lobotomy, is either on heavily sedated on drugs, or is actually just some other person that is not the real Marshall Mathers. I'm pretty sure maybe it was a lobotomy, because something happened, because the guy used to be on fire, now he's just kind of a potato of a human, you know what I mean? All right, let's get back to that. It's been, yeah, so Eminem. So this guy was just talking about Eminem being on the Epstein plane list, I'm pretty sure, and Eminem was introduced to Usher, or Usher introduced Eminem to P. Diddy, because I showed you in that last video about the time that Eminem went missing, or the supposedly died. All right, anyway.
This is the age of conscious awakening. This is the age of revealing all the secrets that have been hidden behind that veil of lies of which I spoke about. This shit is no fucking joke. There's a lot of dark secrets behind those closed doors in our societies, okay? And the only reason that nobody wants to bat an eye to those hidden secrets is because they rely on sources like mainstream news and media to paint this image of truth for them.
So according to, of all people, Mr. Anti-Semitic Kanye West himself, Mr. Burner Brand, Diddy is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just kind of funny, because in today's day, you really can't use the word Diddy and tip without going someplace dark. And I ain't talking about the fact that he's a brother. I'm talking about the fact that he's drugging and abusing people. What's wrong with y'all? Get your head out of the gutters. Now, word around the block is that Diddy is getting protected by the higher-ups, and that the raid was a way for some influential people involved in his freak-offs to destroy any tapes of him that he's got. Hold up, I'm about to sneeze. Epstein didn't kill himself. Oh, sorry, allergies. I'm drawing some parallels.
I never thought these words would come out my mouth, but Candace Owens is onto something, and that did not feel comfortable at all. So Candace says the reason mainstream news is not picking up this lawsuit, is not paying attention to Diddy at all, is because of this man right here, Lucian Granish. He is one of the most...
Can I show you something that kind of messed me up? This is a ribbon that represents
most powerful men in Hollywood and music. And he been up in Diddy's room. So this man right here is Sir Lucian Charles Grant. He's been the CEO of Universal Music Group since 2010. So you know he done seen some shit. So I had to go to the damn document. Right. I had to see if this man was actually named. And he is. As you can see, it says Lucian Charles Granish. And it also says Universal Music Group. On top of that, it says Ethiopia. I cannot fuck up her last name. I refuse to. But she was also a big person in Universal Music Group. And then Christina Coranham, Lord forgive. But she was like Diddy's second hand. And here on page 4, they are all listed by name and picture and description.
That is so cool. They have them by name, picture, and description. So yeah, the exposure, man. The exposure. And this video is amazing. We're going to continue to watch it. I'm not going to speak too much now. Let's keep going.
So, this is messed up. So if you go down to page 28 of the lawsuit, everything is up in this bad. So let me just read a little bit and you can pause to read the rest. Defendant Granish sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by defendants Mr. LR, which I don't know who that is, and UMG, which is Universal Music Group. As evidence above, the parties and had ex-workers, I can't say the word, and underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Granish knew or should have known Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through laced bottles of Delon tequila and Ciroc vodka. He was using his own shit. Baby, this is bad. Baby, I found tea at the bottom. So if you read this little note at the bottom, it will tell you why UNG removed their music from TikTok and who is actually to blame. I just want to throw that. Baby, there are more pages you can pause to read, but basically it's that this man knew about all the parties. This man was around all of this. This man never stopped anything. This man nor Christina nor Ethiopia had stopped anything that was
Universal
happening.
Music Group.
They let Diddy run wild.
Dirty white
That's
man.
why they are being mentioned
Bad
in
white
this
man.
lawsuit. And I guess this is why people are not making it bigger than social media, because I have not really
Hold on.
seen.
Let's take a moment. Shame. Shame, white man. White man, shame. Shame. Shame on you. Shame, white man. He's a bad white man. We should recognize him as a dirty white man.
In mainstream media, like Fox, like CNN, none of that stuff really. But baby,
fucking
this is getting bigger.
When I say the
ringleader.
name Grange, the first thing I think of is like some C-tier Marvel supervillain. He sounds like a dude that can shoot oranges out of his belly button. Because, you know, navel oranges. I mean, this is the same dude that was kind of punking out with Taylor Swift and her catalog and all that other nonsense. This dude's in the news lately, and he's got a deep experience in being shady.
I'll remember why Taylor Swift left her record company. Her entire catalog, her masters were sold to a guy named Scooter Braun. And so she decided to re-record all of them and sign with Universal Music. Yesterday, Universal Music, the CEO, Lucian Grange, posed with Scooter Braun. It's a deal to give UMG digital distribution rights for the next 10 years. Notably, this exclusive distribution deal does not include social media sites, YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. I feel like Lucian Grange has been in the news a lot lately, and Scooter Braun has been overseas with Noah Tishby. It's weird that they got all this worked out.
Now, if you're not sure how influential this
She's
fourth
deep
grade
in it.
Pokemon sounding mofo is, this ought to help you know what kind of power he's got. Now, it's pretty evident that he's seen a lot behind the scenes.
I didn't realize how controlled the music industry is until I made this chart. See, I wanted to know how many of this last year's top 100 songs were produced by Universal Music Group, whose CEO is Lucian Grange, who was directly named in the recent P. Diddy lawsuit that alleged that he has hundreds of hours of video footage and audio recordings of all of this illegal stuff going on, providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers, drugging and sexually assaulting people, underage girls, shootings, all kinds of drugs and firearm, and sketchiest of all, these crazy parties being hosted in houses wired up with secret cameras in every room, like Jeffrey Epstein style. There's photographic evidence included in the lawsuit. Pause if you want to read this. And the lawsuit directly alleges that CEO of Universal Music Group, Lucian Grange, was attending these parties and had direct knowledge of all of the crimes, or at least some of the crimes that I just mentioned. And again, this is all allegedly, according to this lawsuit, which has a lot of evidence to support it. And Lucian Grange is the CEO of Universal Music Group, which is massive. And this is just my opinion from reading the lawsuit, but it looks like what it's alleging is that Diddy, with help of associates, is acquiring blackmail on rappers that are getting signed into the industry and other musicians too, and then promoting them because they are now in the club. And so if the CEO of Universal Music Group is aware of this operation or in some ways involved, how much of the music industry is controlled by Universal Music Group? Well, what I did is I went to the Billboard Hot 100 and I grabbed all these songs by these different artists and put them into a chart. And that chart looked like this. And then I did the research to figure out what record labels own those songs. And when it's all done, Universal controls 33 out of 2023's top 100 songs. That is 1/3 of the music on the top hits charts. And I'm not alleging that all of that music was done through this sexual blackmail scheme. I'm not alleging that it's all a direct causal relationship. I'm just pointing out how small and consolidated and tied together the music industry is, and raising some questions. And just to clarify my methods real quick here at the end, I did this research by typing in the name of the song and searching for it on Google, and then finding the Wikipedia page for that song specifically, and then scrolling down to the link.
How do you take 20,000 children in the middle of New York City without anybody seeing?
Label and then tracing. So Capitol is owned by Universal Music Group, so that's actually Universal on my chart. Obviously it's a little more complicated than that, but I just wanted to simplify it. Next, I'm going to analyze how much of that top 100s chart is controlled by a certain group that people have a lot of allegations about, see if there's any basis to those claims. And I think I'm also going to watch all the music videos for all those songs and analyze whether that content is what you would consider wholesome or destructive to culture.
We already know damn well that all the stuff that they're showing us is already against, most of the stuff in these music videos are already against the laws, you know? And it's like, for some reason, they keep on showing it to humans, you know, the population. That's another problem with our culture in the United States is our entertainment is law breaking, which maybe that's a sign, because we're based on pirates. The United States, our population, we used to, you know, our whole identity is really piracy, because that's why we're called the Yankees. We would just take, it's kind of like what China's doing now. We would just take the international, or the, intellectual property rights, and we exploited those. We would just go out and pirate the open seas in the name of the United States government. It was called privateers. The United States Navy would implore individuals with letters of marque saying that they're able to go out and pirate other ships. This is in the 1800s. The U.S. government was doing this. The U.S. government was so broke, they employed privateers to go out and pirate the open seas in the name of themselves, and then the privateers would bring the vessels back in, and then the Navy would give them money, or, you know, so they would exchange they needed the capital. The government needed the equipment, like the ships and the gold and stuff, and these guys were just pirates. So, to be fair, the United States civilization is kind of based on piracy and breaking the laws, yet all the entertainment they show us is based on breaking laws, yet we have the system of law in place. It's kind of like a perfect money-making system. I think the United States is really just a monetary exploitation state in general, and either they're going to get the money out of you working, or they're going to get the money out of diagnosing you with a medical illness, or they're going to get the money out of incarcerating you. So that's kind of how the beast is. That's the United States beast system in a nutshell. Anyway, so it seems to me that there's an incentive to, entertain, like pretty much make a culture based on piracy, set laws down, and then, let it flourish and just monetize. All right, let's switch back.
Culture and people, like generally perverse or promoting really bad themes. I'm pretty curious to see how that metric lines up with which record labels and which owners of those record labels. So stay tuned. And if you haven't seen my video yet about the connection between Diddy's lawsuit here and his sexual blackmail ring and the death of Michael Jackson, check that video out. It's a banger. You can find it on all my platforms except for TikTok. Go figure.
Lucian Grange, who is the current CEO
This chick's
of
good.
Universal Music Group. That video is talking in depth about the lawsuit that's brought against P. Diddy, Lucian Grange, and others that details sexual harassment and sexual assault claims. When something big goes down, or when something big has gone down and it comes on my radar again, I like to go and find out if there's any kind of lionist, spelled with a Z, connection. And of course there is. And this comes in the form of Lucian Grange, who there is ample evidence to show that he is most likely a lionist. First piece of evidence, his wife Carolyn, she's one of the trustees for the Bernard Lewis Family Charitable Trust. And these are some of the causes that trust donates to. See the ones that are highlighted. This is Lucian himself back in 2016 attending a Friends of the I-Town Defense Forces gala. And what a coincidence. Under Grange's leadership, Universal becomes the first major music label to open a branch in I-Town. For a lot of us, this whole situation with P. Diddy is reminding us of what happened with Epstein's Island. In that, they both had a lot of surveillance, a lot of cameras recording everything, and that they both potentially used the information that they gained to manipulate, blackmail famous and powerful people into doing and saying the things that they want. And some think the things that they wanted them to say were in line with lionist views, and that maybe even they were employed by lionists. Sidebar, they're unsyncing my voice. I just went back and watched what I've said so far, and they're unsyncing my voice as they always do whenever I talk about lionist issues. It's really fucking frustrating. But whatever, let's continue on. So we've got this connection with Lioness and P. Diddy. Let's go further. Some of us often wonder why Miss Taylor Swift has
Hold on. Before we go any further, I want to know. We'll go back just a sec. So she said Zionist. She can't say Zionist. She can only say lioness. But let's do. I want to pull up the AI system and look up what a Zionist is real quick, just so we can. Because I've heard it, but I have no real idea what it is. So I'm looking it up. All right. Okay, let's get her to read it.
Zionism is a religious and political movement that aims to recreate a Jewish presence in Israel, particularly in the ancient city of Jerusalem, referred to as Zion. Here are some key points about Zionism. Origins and meaning. The term Zionism comes from the Hebrew word Zion, which signifies Jerusalem. Throughout history, Jews have considered certain areas in Israel sacred, as do Christians and Muslims. The fundamental idea of Zionism is to establish a Jewish homeland in Israel. Historical context. Modern Zionism took root in the late 19th century. Jews faced growing anti-Semitism, triggering a desire to return to their homeland and restore Jewish culture there. Theodor Herzl, an Austrian journalist and political activist, is often considered the father of modern Zionism. The Balfour Declaration, 1917. British Foreign Secretary Arthur James Balfour expressed support for a Jewish home in Palestine, then under British control. This declaration became known as the Balfour Declaration and was included in the Mandate for Palestine. Establishment of Israel. In 1948, Israel was officially declared a state, fulfilling the Zionist vision. The establishment of Israel remains a significant achievement for the Zionist movement. While Zionism has successfully reestablished Israel as a central location for Jewish identity, it remains a topic of debate and controversy due to its impact on Palestinian communities. 1 carat 2 carat.
Okay. So when someone refers to a Zionist, all a Zionist is someone who wants to repopulate Israel with Jewish people. They want Israel to be a Jewish-led area. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything derogatory or negative. It's just literally a political and religious Jewish movement that wants to place the majority of people in Israel Jewish. That's all Zionism is. So when you hear Zionism, it doesn't mean anything racist. It's literally a political movement. And this thing started in like 1917, so it's been going on almost 100 years. So that was like 2-3 generations ago. Those were our great-grandparents, you know? Our great-grandparents and our great-great-grandparents. And our grandparents never mentioned any of this shit going on. So you got to see. And so all that's been festering, you know, for the good or bad. I'm not sure. But what we're doing is we're able to acknowledge it now. We're able to actually, like, kind of see it. And so us as the media, you know, we're media now. Live TikTok, live YouTube. We're the media. We're exposing this thing. And all it is just saying, putting a light on, and we're in a dark room, and this is like, hey, this is what's been going on ever since your great-great-grandparents were around, and they were politicking and fighting and scrapping and scraping. So when your great-great-grandparents or your great-great-great-grandparents were around scrapping and scraping, these guys, these Zionists, were, doing their thing, and they've had generations, and so it's been working and festering. Is the Jewish population of Israel, is it a good or bad thing? I don't know. But we do know that genocide isn't right. So that's what we do know. So we're not really sure what the foundation of the Jewish people inhabiting Israel is. Like, I need to do more research into Zionism and what their religious belief is for, that area. Why that area? Why has it got to be that area? And so it goes, I guess it goes back into spirituality, and it's saying that maybe the overall truth is you cannot separate reality and the spirituality, and that they do interact with each other. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But we know what a Zionist now is, and we know that it's been going on for at least since 1900, since World War I, pretty much. And those were our great-great-grandparents and our great-great-great-grandparents. Maybe even more. All right, let's proceed. Fish eye view. All right.
Wonder why Miss Taylor Swift hasn't spoken up about what's going on in P-Town, and I think I might have a really good reason why. Oh look, here's Taylor Swift talking about how happy she is to be extending her partnership with Lucian Grange and the UMC family by signing with UN Publishing Group.
That's funny.
Yada. Here she is cozying up to Lucian again.
Ew.
And again.
That's like a Harvey
And
Weinstein
again,
of the
and
music
again, and there's
industry.
many others out
That
there.
literally is the Harvey Weinstein of the music industry, as opposed to Harvey Weinstein of the film and video industry. So there's this guy named Richie the Barber. His name's Richie the Barber. He's this clown on YouTube, and I don't know, I think they got to him, but like 7 months ago, he was kind of out there putting some real shit out, and he was saying that Taylor Swift was a part of like the satanic parties where people would be like tortured, and there'd be all kinds of like crazy sex going on in each room and stuff. These freak offs. He was talking about the freak offs back then. All right, let's see if he's brave enough to keep that on his YouTube channel, because I know. Okay, it looks like we're doing pretty good, but it's like you would think he's just full of shit, honestly. All right, I'm getting there, people. I want to show you this. It's worth it. It's worth it. Let's see, shorts. All right, come on. Okay, cool.
Keanu Reeves. You saw Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. Where did you see him?
The elite Hollywood parties.
You saw him at an elite Hollywood party? Yeah. What was he doing, Richie?
Can't tell you.
Was he doing anything bad?
I can't tell you.
What were the people doing around him?
There's rituals that they do, and they perform rituals with fire, pentagrams. There's rituals of like blood work, cutting. They want you to cut and sacrifice yourself.
So they're cutting other people or themselves?
Everything. They're having pentagrams, upside down crosses. They're wearing all this like Satan's my daddy. They wear like Lucifer stuff, like lambs, and it's all sacrifices for the satanic movement. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, come on. Move on,
Taylor Swift. Scary. I seen her at the parties, bro.
You've seen Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift, dude.
Richie, you've seen Taylor Swift.
I've seen Taylor Swift at the parties, bro.
What was she doing?
She was dancing.
With the devil?
She just like dancing all crazy, all over everybody.
Is she on drugs?
Definitely cocaine, man.
Can you tell us anything that you've seen her do that made you believe that she is part of a satanic cult, that she is in fact She did what now?
She drank blood, bro.
This is disturbing,
She
Richie.
was there drinking blood, bro. She goes, I love drinking blood. And she's in this, like...
That's
She's
disturbing.
pretty much, like, in hell. Like, there's all this fire and stuff. She's all seductive in this seductive, like, you know, dress.
Do you think she's attractive, Richie?
Dude, she's satanic, bro.
But you didn't answer
She's
the question.
satanic, bro.
Answer the question,
I don't
Richie.
see her like that, bro.
You don't.
I don't live for that, dude.
That's okay. So y'all saw it. That guy's Richie the Clown. He's claiming Taylor Swift is satanic. Now you got to question his credibility, right? But I don't think we're too far off. You know, let's just use our imagination and say he's saying the truth, and then so we're juxtaposing it now to. I'll return it a little bit.
Look, here's Taylor Swift talking about how happy she is to be extending her partnership with Lucian Grange and the UMC family by signing with UM Publishing Group. Yada, yada, yada. Here she is cozying up to Lucian again, and again, and again, and again, and there's many others out there as well if you want to go Google. So now, as far as I'm concerned, everything with Taylor Swift makes perfect sense. She isn't talking because she doesn't know what to say. She's not talking because she's fine with it, and she's cozied up with people who are fine with it. But I'm sure you're asking me, well, what about DJ Khaled? Why hasn't he said anything? Same DJ Khaled, who's taken lessons from Taylor Swift on how to cozy up to Lucian Grange. And isn't this interesting? DJ Khaled signed up for a joint venture with Universal Music Group back in 2023. Oh, the tangled webs.
Orlando in a sickening interview with...
Oh my God, this Orlando part is disgusting. You're definitely going to get triggered by it. And I'll interpret it for you. What he's saying, because he doesn't come out and say it. He dances around it, and for people, especially kids, they won't realize what the guy's talking about. But I'll lay it out flat for you. We're just talking. So Richie the Clown is saying that Taylor Swift is a Satanist, all right, and she participates in these satanic parties. And then this guy Lucian is a Zionist, which a Zionist is someone who wants to repopulate Israel with the Jewish people. That's all it is. There's no, the genocide that happens, that's kind of a separate thing, but maybe it's a cause of it. But the idea of Zionism is just moving Jews into Israel. So what do those two have in common? We're trying to make that bond. What's their political connection besides just money and entertainment? It's like, what's the political bond there? What policies do they, or politics do they intersect at? All right. That's Taylor Swift and Lucian. So a Satanist and Zionist. What's their intersection? At what intersection do they find value in each other? Think about it like that. And we don't know. We're trying to find that answer. Oh, come on now. There it is.
Went on a crazy rant detailing what Diddley does, and the Diddley boy can get away with anything as long as people come to him to help him get to the top. I don't know about all y'all, but I don't want to get to the top by having to.
This is trigger warning for sure.
I'm just saying, bro. Exit only.
You want to be a capital, right? I want to be a capital. No, I'm just saying. The person that wants to be a capital. Okay. You want to be a capital. You want to be an outlaw, whatever it is. Okay? We're going to haze you and haze you and haze you until you are a capital. That's what happened. People sold their souls to Diddy. And then they're mad now because the hazing process was a little bit rougher than they thought. You can't, the king? Why do you think I love Diddy so much? You're not going to dethrone this man because he know how to get you there. By way of hazing you, I call it haze. And we're going to still do this. We're going to still do this. It's not going to stop. Take that. It's still gonna happen. You got 3 million and we're still waking up in the morning, drinking cognac, screaming, bad boy, bad boy. And it won't stop, and it can't stop. And it's not gonna stop. You thought just because you got 3 million, you chase it? Take care of what you need to take care of. And you're glad that you got away with 3 million. Be happy. No, don't you stop me. Be happy you got away with 3 million. I don't give a what you told the cameras. You wanted to be Illuminati. You wanted to pick cars, and you wanted to get pimped for it. So don't blame him for giving you what you asked for. Because he's still gonna be Diddy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I am. All right, so what that guy was pretty much saying was, yeah, if you want to be a entertainer, you're going to have to get sexually assaulted and sexually exploited, and also tricked out by your. It's pretty much, yeah. What these guys are saying is the industry of music is the Zionists are pretty much taking these pop icons and getting blackmail on these pop icons and using that blackmail to make the icons take political avenues that they wouldn't. So yeah, they're using blackmail, and if that's going on in the music industry, I'm pretty sure that's the business as usual in every other industry that we're in right now. I think all the industries are plagued by just people taking advantage and blackmail. That's what kind of it's always been about. My dad was telling me that there's this guy who took another guy's whole identity, took his business, and took all of his wealth because he was able to blackmail him enough. You know, he knew something about the guy that would pretty much cause him to lose everything otherwise. Like, pretty much, yeah, it would cause him to lose everything and then go to jail. And so the guy was willing just to give up his entire wealth to stay out of jail. So that's the power of blackmail, and that's how reality works, unfortunately. Money is shifted into hands, you know, and wealth. People accumulate lifetimes of wealth only to lose it to other people. Not all the time. Those are very specific examples. But that incentive, I think that's what draws attorneys to corruption as well, is being able to claim operating in that gray area. Kind of like how I was saying, FBI agents, they'll like watch a drug lord for like decade, you know, maybe a decade and a half. And then as soon as that drug lord has enough money, they go in, make the bust. And I'm fairly confident that those FBI agents will take some off the top. Not all of them, but most of them. They'll take theirs off the top and go into retirement after that, and pretty much not claim the cash as evidence. So they'll take a part of the cash for themselves, a few million, you know, because the drugs will be, you know, in cash, and probably take drugs too. And the FBI agent knows who to sell the drugs to, because when an FBI agent pretty much becomes a part of the environment as well. Like, they become a part of the drug gangs and stuff. They become a perpetrator, a violator of law as well, to get into those spheres and to gain influence and stuff. And so, yeah, these guys get to work in like the ethics of the situations are very questions, and they get to do like black ops and what is it called? Kind of like going rogue in a way. There's a lot of rogue actors, I think, and the incentive is so great. They can just steal people's wealth through those mechanisms. And I think that's, you know, people will go where the money's at, you know, people will go kind of where, putting ethics aside, the markets work that people will fill in positions of power that will make them money. So naturally. So, you know, if the incentive is in business, they'll go into business. But if the incentive is into law, they'll go into law and just take money through administrative processes. It's all about a waxing and waning of like how law is set up. If law is set up in that way to benefit it, more people will go into law and just become more litigious. And if the benefit's there. Anyway, so that's kind of the culture that's kind of plaguing this gray area people can operate in. And you know, taking wealth when it comes to money, it's like there's some pretty dirty stories about, you know, people just flat up stealing other people's wealth. So let's get back to that.
It's called hazing. Stop playing with yourself.
Lucian Grange, the
Oh yeah, he's talking about banging in each other's butts, butt banging,
which was the
booty
last
pegging.
Hollywood event that Diddley attended, which honored hip hop mogul Lyle Cohen.
Just in. The FBI says Chinese hackers are preparing to launch an attack on U.S. infrastructure.
I don't really know this guy that well.
You all take care. He's the CEO of Universal Music. This guy runs the record industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, rumors are circulating that Universal Music Group CEO Lucian Grange took part in having young Justin Bieber drugged and raped repeatedly by pedophiles in the music industry.
Damn.
I mean, if you was looking for an explanation to all of Bieber's crazy behavior, that would do it. When it comes to that kind of trauma, you just can't easily unring that bell.
So the plot thickens with Diddy. So that guy right there to my left is a man that goes by the name of Lucian Grange. Now, you probably never seen him before, but you definitely heard of him. See, Dre got a song called Space Scheme with Rick Ross where he says, "To Lucian, I said, F it, I'm tearing holes in my budget." Lucian Grange is responsible for a lot of the careers of a lot of your rappers. He's actually the CEO of Universal Music. Well, Lucian Grange is actually coming out speaking on the Diddy situation because one of the accusers that goes by the name of Lil Rod has actually implemented Lucian Grange inside of the lawsuit as well, pretty much saying that he contributed, he aided and abetted, which means he gave Diddy money, and that money that was used was obviously used to do the stuff that they're alleging Diddy for. I'm actually going to read y'all part of the article, and then I got some other news because Diddy's son has now came out and spoken.
That's wild. I got to take a moment. So that guy's saying so in Lil Rod's legal claim, he's saying that Lucian aided and abetted Diddy, in that Lucian probably allowed Universal funds to flow into Diddy's operations. So Lucian was funding Diddy's black ops, his off the book operations, and those operations were be able to get people, new entertainers, up and comers, get them in a sexually provocative position, take film of it, and then exploit them, and then use that information to have them sway in political or business dealings. So wow, that's like grabbing the soul. So pretty much they're grabbing people by the soul and making people navigate the world through their because really there's nothing to it. It's like, what it is the potential career of the rapper, potential entertainer is destroyed if that footage is released. So if the sexual footage is released, who knows what they're doing though. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if it's just basic sex, it's like, how bad can that be? It's just a sex tape coming out. But these guys have sex with, that's the thing. It's like, what kind of sex are they hiding? And apparently it's all the real dirty stuff, the taboo stuff. So that's what they're capturing on film. They're capturing the real taboo stuff on film. And so it's real derogatory and morally corrupt stuff. Enough to make people pretty much do whatever, So, like I was just saying a few minutes ago, in the music industry, if they're doing this in the music industry, they're doing this in pretty much all the other business avenues, like the executive branches of like businesses are probably like funding for, because the company's one thing, but the individuals that run the company too, that's a power struggle, and they want to keep in power. So, they'll stay in power by any means necessary, and if that means getting dirt on their up-and-coming competitors within their own company and exploiting their own co-workers, that's probably how it is. You know, imagine it's like, ugh. Yeah, so that's why it's important to be able to have a clean, you know, camera roll. And it's like, can you show people your camera roll without exposing yourself or incriminating yourself? You know what I mean? If you just let someone look in your camera roll, you know, just shows you the character of the people. All right, anyways, let's get back to this. Looks like I'm all froze up. All right, there we go.
As well, King Kong, right? So it says, Lucian Grange are slamming. Well, first of all, it says the CEO, Lucian Grange, and Universal Music Group are slamming Tyrone Blackburn, the lawyer representing Diddy's accuser. Last month, producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, alleging S assaulted and harassed him and committed S trafficking crimes, which the mogul continues to deny, right? It says UMG CEO Lucian Grange was also named, alleging he, Diddy, and others violated the RICO Act. So, Buddy trying to get him a RICO, right?
Hit him with that RICO.
And federal S trafficking laws. Jones alleged that Grange aided abetted trafficking laws. Jones alleged that Grange aided abetted trafficking laws and induced Sean Combs' S trafficking venture and was 100% liable for actions of Sean Combs. So, good news is, he's not saying that Lucian Grange did anything, any type of touching, nothing on him like that at all, or harassing. He's just saying that since he's above him, his money kind of helped him do whatever he was doing, right? Now, Lucian Grange came out and said that this is completely reckless and false, and they're trying to tear a new one inside of the lawyer that actually put this lawsuit together and just recklessly or falsely threw in Lucian's name, right? Also, Diddy's son has now came out and he pretty much said, so with all the news that's currently circulating about Diddy, his son King Combs has came out and said, stop with the cat. Because there's obviously a lot of different stories and stuff that's going on with Diddy. Now, some of those may be false. Some people are just trying to get clout. Some of those are just being made up. However, I'm making sure that I give y'all the details that are actually inside of the lawsuits that's actually going on. So, how do y'all feel about it?
You know, with all the talk about Diddy and Universal Music pulling their songs from TikTok, nobody's talking about baby daddy Drake over here. Drake's baby daddy. And how this dude is being gaslighting and manipulating the music industry for decades. How many amazing pieces of music wasn't made because of this douchebag's greed over here? How many careers, how many artists got pushed down and suffocated? How many careers this guy ended because of his greed? Zionist. Nobody's asking the question that who was the people that allow what happened to Diddy because these people knew all along. These people knew all along what's going on with Diddy, with Epstein, and all of those people. And you have to piss off these people in order for things like that to happen. Because they let it happen. They protected Diddy for years. Protects Drake and all these people for years. While manipulating numbers. Y'all gonna let this guy just walk freely, smile on his face, pretending he's a hero? While he's been gatekeeping the music industry for decades?
Did you know that there's a simple combination?
F you, dude. Yeah, so there we go. So what we discover, Zionism, all it is wanting to put Israel, or Jews back in Israel. Political movement based off the Jewish religion. And anyways, So that's pretty much it for today. We got through the video. Kanye exposes Diddy and Lucian. Kind of. Not much Kanye going on, but Kanye's done, dude. They put a lobotomized version of him in. Anyways, guys, have a good day. That's all I got for you. I'll catch you next time.